let's talk about something. Let's talk about the Oklahoma City real estate market. Now, the December numbers just dropped. The market feels like it made a New Year's resolution, then promptly forgot about it, and then came back around and said, you know what? That was my plan the whole time. Days on market shot up, inventory dipped down, home prices did a little boogie woogie, and sellers thought, you know what? We're good here. Stick around because we're going to translate this whole beautiful, confusing mess into something that actually makes sense as we get into 2026. And just like that, we're back. It's 2026. It's a brand new year. I hope you guys had a good holiday season. You may have missed my absence because I kind of forgot to do one of these last month. And now come to think of it, I don't think I did one the prior month either. But hey, it's a new year. It's a new me. It's a new you. And it's a new market. So let's look at it, huh? Let's see what we got. Now, for those of you who may just be tuning in and are wondering, where does this data come from? It comes from the RPR, Residential Property Resource, which is a tool that's the NAR, National Association of Realtors, gives us. And it works kind of good, pretty all right, better than some of the other places that I've found. However, I have to look at Oklahoma County as our data set, because if we looked at Oklahoma City, which is, quite frankly, gerrymandered to hell, it looks like we wouldn't get, Bethany. We wouldn't get the Village. We wouldn't get Nichols Hills. We wouldn't get some of those places that really do have a lot of weight in the data that we're looking at. So the best way that I could find it would be just to look at the square that is Oklahoma County. And until the asshats at the NAR allow me just to, draw a goddamn radius and look at the data sets within that, this is the best we can do. So you would imagine more from a multi-billion-dollar organization, but c'est la vie. Let's check it out. All right, here we go. Market trends for the January market report. We're looking at last month's data because that's the most relevant data that we have. So months of inventory, this is a pretty down-ass metric, to be honest. We're almost 8% down month over month to 3.35 months of inventory. Still in a seller's market, but that is a pretty large margin to drop. Our sold to list price is pretty much flat, still at 100%. So by and large, those who are listing properties are selling for list price. I'd be interested to know how many delisted or withdrawn or released listings had gone on the market, because I have seen a lot. Median days on market jumped to 31, which is up 20 whopping percent. Homes are staying a lot longer. And our median sold price dropped 3.5 points to 255. So this wrap up for our just overall general market trends are the kind of mixed signals that would make a therapist raise their eyebrows. The market isn't really cooling off, I would say. It's just kind of, stretching before its next lap. This is a strange little cocktail of a little less supply, slower pacing, and steady demand, and it sets the stage for a wonderful start to 2026. All right, now we can drop down. Oh, what's this? Metro Market Statistics. Visualizations, man, I love visualizations. You ever see that Information is Beautiful group? Man, they do some really cool stuff. Okay, well, we'll look at that later. Not right now. Maybe I can get that to go away. Collapse. Yeah, go away. Median estimated property values. Now, this is one of my favorite cards because it's interactive, dude. We nudged up to $245,720. That is a very polite 0.3 of a point change over last month. Now, this isn't dramatic, but it is dependable. Kind of like that friend that you have that always shows up 5 minutes early. For sellers, this kind of slow, controlled appreciation is exactly what you want heading into the new year. So this keeps your equity growing without scaring any of the buyers away. Now for buyers, the good news here is that nothing here suggests a runaway price surge. Values are rising, but at a pace that gives you room to breathe, a little room to plan, and actually shop without feeling like the ground is moving beneath you. Okie dokie, artichoke. New listings. Let's see what we got. All right. Median list price was coming in at 2 3/4, 0.3 of a point month up. 3 points of it. It's up month over month. Our number of properties came in real low. 861, which is down almost 22% over last month. Median square feet, we climbed up to 163. Our total volume in the market right now is also dropped 22.2% down to 311 million. And we also saw a moderate decline in our median living area square feet, the worst possible metric we could look at. So when you look at the new listings, it kind of feels like the market is quietly tightening the screws. So for sellers, this really isn't bad news necessarily at all. Now, if you're one of the people who did list in December, you were competing against a lot less homes that were active on the market. The market basically rewarded these clean, well-positioned listings with room that held their list price. And heading into the new year, that shrinking flow of fresh inventory says there is still an opportunity to step out in front of buyers without getting lost in a crowd. All right, buyers, this is where it gets a little bit more annoying. You're going to be facing a situation where you have a lot fewer new options, and the ones that do hit the market are coming in at a modest little price bump than before. So you're not walking into a bargain bin moment. You're just kind of like at a curated rack. Less selection, but still strong pricing. Now, the upside is that as we layer this card onto the broader market story, you can see the landscape a hell of a lot more clearly. Inventory is not flooding in at the moment, so when the right house shows up, it is worth being ready, prepped, and decisive because you are not going to have 10 nearly identical homes waiting in the wings. When we look at active listings in December, you can see the market settling into this unusually calm but remarkably stubborn posture. Our median list price held completely flat at $300K or a dollar short thereof, which is effectively the real estate equivalent of somebody that refuses to flinch in a staring contest. Sellers didn't raise prices, but they sure as shit didn't lower them either. So this tells you something, is that confidence, my friend, confidence is still very much intact. Now, the big shift is how many homes were actually available. So we had a 8.1% drop in our overall number of properties on the MLS last month. The hell is that? I don't want you there. So not only were fewer new listings coming in, but the pool of available homes tightened up as well. Kimosabi. Now, this is where the market quietly reinforces its position. Fewer choices means that sellers do not feel pressured to adjust pricing. But here's where it gets interesting. Median days on market skyrocketed 20% up to 72. Now, that is not a small bump. That is not just a key kick in the men's room. This is a staggering stat. This is the market tapping the brakes, right? Seasonality of it all. The homes are sitting longer, not because there is any demand that has evaporated, but because buyers are being more selective, more cautious, and they're willing to wait on a home that does not check all of their boxes. Inventory is shrinking while pacing is slowing, and that combination always creates a little bit of tension in the data. Now, we also saw the median price per square foot tick up to $169, which means either one of two things. A, either sellers are listing more well-presented and cleaner homes, or B, buyers are just placing more value on turnkey move-in ready places. With the size, the median living area square feet, we're basically looking at the same sized homes being priced slightly tighter. Sellers, this is your proceed with confidence, not with arrogance moment. Inventory is down and prices are holding, and even with longer days on market, buyers are still showing up and paying close to list price. The rising days on markets is a nudge from the universe that says presentation matters right now. Pricing matters right now. It always has, it always will. Galactically, from the cosmos, that's what it's telling you. The market will certainly reward a well-presented and a well-priced, strong listing, but it will most certainly shit on a mediocre one. It will sit there and it will not sell. Price it well, comp it well, call me if you need help. So buyers, this is that classic good news, annoying news combo that everybody hates. Good news is the homes are sitting a lot longer, right? You got time to evaluate and to compare and to, discuss with your father-in-law who bought a home in 1989 what the, kitchen sink plumbing should look like. Now, the annoying news is that there are fewer homes to choose from, and that the pricing hasn't necessarily softened as much to match those longer market times, right? So you got more breathing room, but not necessarily a whole lot more leverage. Overall, the whole active listing card tells me one thing, is that this is a picture of very controlled tightening. Inventory drifting down, days on market drifting up, pricing staying steady. It's not dramatic, but it is meaningful. It tells you exactly where the market is going to be drawing the lines as we head into 2026. So the new pending listings card in December tell one of the cleanest stories in the whole report. Median list price jumped to close to 260. Now that's 4 points month over month, which is quite honestly one of the strongest moves that we have seen in recent months. Now, obviously, again, seasonality. This is a reminder to myself to put a big seasonality thing in post-production, i.e. fucking CapCut, because why not? Now, anytime pendings rise in price, it tells you something crucial. Buyers are not just active, they're targeting higher value homes and showing real confidence in our market. But there's always a twist. Our number of properties is down 20% to 630. That is not a soft dip. That is a very meaningful pullback. And yes, the seasonality of it all affects this greatly. However, this means that fewer buyers... fuck your toll-free call. This means that fewer buyers actually wrote offers, and even the ones who did, they were willing to spend a little bit more. And add to the fact that our total dollar volume is also down 20% to just under 204 million. You can see the puzzle start to forming, yeah? It's demand didn't disappear, it's just getting a little pickier. And let's look at our pacing to reinforce that. We're up 18 points to 40 days on market. Nobody likes homes sitting longer, but these are the ones that were pending in December, right? These are the new pendings that went under contract in December, not that carried over from November. Those homes took a little bit longer to go under contract, which that lines up with everything that we're seeing right now. Buyers are slowing down a little bit more. They're choosing more carefully. They're refusing to rush into something that just doesn't feel right. Not panicking, not stampeding. They're just making deliberate moves. Our price per square feet held steady at 153. That's basically the market saying, look, we're not adjusting value, we're adjusting behavior. With this modest drop in price, it shows us that buyers are not swinging for oversized properties. They're focusing on homes that are appropriately priced and well presented. Okay, what does it mean? What does it mean, man? Tell me, what does it mean? Sellers, new pendings matter because they show you the psychology of the buyer in real time. The buyers who are out there are serious. They are willing to spend more based on the data, but they're also moving a little bit slower and writing fewer offers. So if your home is priced correctly, if it's clean, and if it is positioned well, now that also means if it's priced correctly, then you're still in the strong seat. But if it is overpriced or underprepared, then the market is not glossing over those flaws any longer. The days of going under contract instantly are fading. I'm not saying that if you're priced well, you're in a good area and you're in good condition, that you won't go under contract day of, but please, if you're selling your house, price it accordingly. That's all I gotta say. Now, buyers, this card is something of a gift for you, wrapped up with a little bow, yeah? Fewer people wrote offers, pacing slowed, and the homes that did go under contract, they were not priced down, they were priced correctly. So yes, you have more space to breathe, but you don't have the leverage to expect massive discounts. So the advantage is time, not price cuts. And if the house hits the market and is aligned with the data, it will still move. Now, one thing that the data does not give us is concessions. Every listing that I've represented in the last 3 to 6 months has come with some sort of a concession package for the buyer. By that, I mean that the seller ended up conceding, $2,500 for buyer's closing costs, or, $5,000 for a rate buy down, or whatever, what have you. Now, obviously the inverse of that is true as well. If you are buying a house right now, ask for some sort of concessions, because chances are you will get them. It is just that kind of market. So new pendings in December shows a market that is tightening, slowing, and quietly recalibrating, but not weakening. Oh man, I can't. Can you get your fourth finger up? Can you put only your pinky down? It's really hard to do. Can't do it. So this is a smarter market, not a softer one. The pending listings are basically the market's lie detector test. And December's results came back with the kind of nervous honesty you'd expect from somebody who says, I'm totally fine. Median list price bumped up to $255,000, which means that sellers are still naming their price with the confidence of somebody who refuses to read online reviews. And somehow buyers are just sitting there nodding like, yeah, okay, cool, that seems fair. But here's where the plot thickens. Our total number of properties dropped almost 13 points to 994. That's about a 13% plunge, which is the market's version of saying, hey, look, I really do like you, but I'm just not ready for a commitment right now. And our total dollar volume fell about 15% to almost 318 million, confirming that yes, the vibe really did shift. Not dramatically, not alarmingly, just enough for the market to loosen its tie and kind of wonder exactly what the fuck is it doing with its life. And then there's the pacing. Our median days on the market climbed 15% to 38, which makes total sense. Buyers certainly are not sprinting anymore. They're just taking a quiet stroll. They're reading labels. They're doing the real estate equivalent of squeezing every avocado to make sure that they got the right one. And this is not hesitation. This is discernment, which quite honestly is refreshing. Now our price per square foot dropped a smidge, just a smidge, to 1,704 square feet, which is basically buyers not, they're not chasing the largest house or the fanciest upgrades. What I see is buyers going after homes that feel right, not the ones that come with bragging rights. All right, so now sellers, this is where you take a deep breath. Buyers may be taking a little bit longer, but they are still paying your price if the home deserves it. Overpricing or underprepping your house right now is the equivalent of showing up to a job interview in sweatpants. Just don't do it. Now for buyers, this slowdown, this is your golden hour. You've got more time, you've got more clarity, but again, don't confuse time with leverage. So big picture, this is not a meltdown, this is not a boom, this is the dignified middle ground where smart decisions live. And stepping into 2026, man, that's not a bad place to be. All right, our sold listings in December is our market's reminder that it can absolutely multitask, it just prefers to do it in an absolute chaotic way. So we'll start with the median sold price of $255K, which is down 3%. The market just politely hinting that it's not throwing money around like it's 2021. And then right after that, the number of properties actually jumped to 726, which is hilarious timing. Fewer dollars per sale and more sales overall. Basically, the market said, look, I'm going to charge a little less this month, but I'm going to make up for it in volume. And let's get to our sold to list price, which slipped just a bit to 99.97, which signals that buyers managed to claw back just the tiniest shred of negotiating power. And buyers, I see you. I'm working with some of you that just, these lowball offers are still going to get laughed at and you will not be able to come back from, but you still have negotiating power. But that doesn't mean you can come in 50K off list price. You know who I'm talking to out there. That 99.97% isn't necessarily, enough to brag about, but think of it as like finding a $20 bill in that old jacket that you put on. Then let's look at our boom card, I say. Our median days on market climbed 20% to just over 31 in fact, proving that buyers are not rushing into anything. They were strolling, they were browsing. The home still sold, they just waited a little bit longer for commitment. And finally, our total dollar volume climbed, which is kind of weird, considering, because usually, again, seasonality, usually we're lower in the January months, but hey, look at us. We're just being absolutely bipolar. Now, sellers, this whole card is a reminder that the market is not falling apart. It just decided to behave like a rational adult for once. Yes, prices softened, and yes, buyers negotiated some tiny wins, but overall, market activity increased and the total dollar volume went up. Now, buyers, look, yes, this is good news, just don't get cocky. Prices dipped a bit, you won some concessions, and homes took longer to sell. But when the dust settled, the market still closed more deals, and pushed a higher total volume. Translation, you can be thoughtful, you can be picky, just do not expect a fire sale. So the sold listings ended up in that rare space where everyone gets a little something without breaking character. Yeah, chaotic on paper, but surprisingly balanced in the real life. All right, our month supply of inventory, or MSI, if you want to sound like a military acronymist, we dropped to 3.35 months, down 7.7% over last month, which is the market tapping us on the shoulder and saying, hey, I'm still in charge. A lower MSI always tightens the screws, but this drop tells you that inventory did not shrink, it just kind of leaned in. Because when you zoom out, you see that our supply is actually up 10% year over year, which, long-term, our supply has increased as we are coming out of those unicorn years. Our market is starting to balance out, which everybody's got to love. month to month, the trend says that yes, competition is on the rise again. And then again, year over year, it says, hey, we're going to return to normalcy. What is it, FDR that had the return to normalcy thing? I don't know. I had Oklahoma City public education. For sellers, the drop in inventory means that, yeah, you are holding the better cards right now. Buyers don't have endless choices, and pricing confidence stays high. You're not in a frenzy market, but you're not really in a favorable one. Buyers, this year-over-year rising MSI is your lifeline. More inventory is coming. More breathing room is coming. The December dip basically means that, yeah, right now, today, you're still navigating a seller-tilted landscape. But the good news is that the pressure is not what it used to be. Bad news is that it hasn't fully gone away. So December's month supply of inventory finishes with one simple message. Short-term tightness, long-term relief. Welcome to the middle of the transition. And now for the Ryan card, sold public records. This will speak to investors, wholesalers, people selling their house to their neighbor, and of course, Ryan. This came in like a market update with commitment issues. Everything is either jumping up enthusiastically or collapsing dramatically. Let's start with our median sold price climbing 5% to $235K, which is a pretty bold move, Cotton, especially in December. That number tells us that the homes that did sell off markets were not cheap. And usually investors are buying, little shitholes that they can then renovate and, make some money. But as always, the number of properties sold fell off a cliff. And I can attest to this, man. There is not a lot of flips that are available on the off-market world. I still get a ton of them. It pays to know people who are dialed into that world. So if you are an investor, hit me up to get on our distro list of any off-market properties that are not on MLS or Zillow or Redfin or Trulia or whatever. Yeah, fewer transactions, higher prices. What are we doing, guys? Then we're going to pop up to our median price per square foot, rising to $149. So even though there were fewer homes that sold, the ones that did sell were arguably a little bit nicer. And another grower, not a shower, is our size. We're up just a little over 1 point to 1,609. That's just a little nudge saying that the buyers really weren't picking through the scraps. Larger homes, stronger value retention, better pricing. All of this paints a picture of sales skewing towards the upper middle of the market. And our total dollar volume, another drastic cliff. We are down 40% to 139 million. For shame, investors. Where are you at? Did you move on to another tertiary market? Has Oklahoma City become too big for you all of a sudden? Where are they at? Where are the deals at? Oh, there's one right there. See? It pays who you know. I'll get back to that one. So what matters for investors with all of this is that the properties trading hands typically were higher value, right there, higher value, they were higher quality, and holding price strength even in a slower month. So that is a 100% confidence indicator, man. This is not a distressed or undervalued environment. It's just a selective one. So if you're an investor, these numbers tell you two things. One, there is stability at the top of the market, even when volume fluctuates. And two, competition for good deals is going to remain tight. Buyers are still willing to pay the higher price if the property justifies it. So if you're watching this and you're contemplating selling your whatever property to a wholesaler or investment group, give me a call and I will run the numbers for you. So with all this said, this basically to me says that the market may have moved less, but it did move with a little bit more intent. So there you have it. That is the wrap up of 2025. The prices held their ground. Inventory tightened up just enough to keep things interesting, and buyers still showed up to pay full list price as if nothing ever changed. We'll keep digging into the numbers every month, separating the actual trends from the noise so you can make decisions without feeling like you're guessing in the dark. As always, thank you so much. You made it till the end. I'm proud of you. Send this to a friend if you've got somebody who's interested in Oklahoma City real estate. Be good to one another. We'll see you on the next one.